Hello and welcome. Today, the 3rd of January 2022, saw the release of IndiaFoxTecho's F-35 package. Now in front of me I have the three aircraft in question, so we've got the A, the B and the C, or Alpha Bravo Charlie. Now, what I'm going to do is just show you the liveries that come with it, and then we'll get straight into the sim. So if we click liveries, and we get a load of American fight squadrons, including the newly stood up 495th Fight Squadron of the 48th Fight Wing at RAF Lakenheath, and as well as a couple of others here, the 61st, the 421st and the 356th Fight Wing. We have the Royal Australian Air Force, the Italian Air Force, the Dutch Air Force, Netherlands. We have the Royal Norwegian Air Force, and then we have the Danish, Japanese, Israeli, and last but not least the Republic of Korea. We go to the Beta variant, and we're mainly going to see Marine Corps liveries there. We do have a 617 Dam Busters for the Royal Air Force, and we have the Italian Navy as well. And then going into the Charlie variant is just three different Navy squadrons: VFA 101, NAWC DC 200 and VFA 147. So with the liveries pretty much shown, as they don't really vary at all, apart from the Danish Air Force roundel is coloured and not the boring white on grey. We'll get into it. I'll be taking off from RAF Lakenheath. I'll be using the 495th Valkyrie Squadron livery for the A variant. I'll be using 617 for the B variant, and I'll just pick one at random for the Charlie. So we'll get into the A. Okay, so we are in the Alpha. We'll have a quick walk around and then we'll get into the cockpit. So I mean, fantastic modelling, and the textures are awesome as well. The fact that they included a 495th livery at the very last moment before launch, I think is absolutely brilliant. Very popular amongst some of the flyers that are on here at the moment, so big thumbs up for that. So we'll just, like I say, have a quick look round. Looks very nicely modelled, and obviously you've got the addition of the ladder that drops when the canopy is open there. That big old scoop at the front where the nose wheel goes in. Once we get the systems up and running, I will show you some of the externals properly. Okay, so that's the short walk around done. Just before I carry on, there are crash to desktop issues with this flight model at the moment, not just the Alpha but all the variants across the board with the F-35. Seems to be an issue with the sim, so I've read, or it could be a hardware issue, but there are definitely a lot of reports of crash to desktop. That's happened to me a few times already. I can't quite put my finger on what the issue is. Nothing else on here has that issue when I'm flying, whether it be F-18 or Starfighter or anything like that. So it's just purely with this module, but apparently it's something to do with the sim clashing with the module, but it's being worked on and hopefully will be resolved soon. So just bear that in mind. I mean, it is early stages. So yeah, let's jump into the cockpit. So in front of us is what is known as the panoramic cockpit display. So instead of obviously your normal flight instruments. We have a big old touch screen in front of us which controls the majority of stuff, but there are some backup instruments, like a backup artificial horizon and some other bits and pieces for emergencies. But yeah, that's where the main bulk of your input will be. And obviously when you have the it actually apparently doesn't have a HUD. It's the first aircraft in several decades that hasn't got a dedicated HUD, so everything is up on the pilot's helmet, which I'm not surprised, as the helmets are a whopping £400,000 a pop. So yeah, those things can do a lot. Although we haven't got the look through the aircraft part of things in this, I doubt that'll ever get implemented, but that would be cool. So moving over to the left, we have our electrical and engine starter switches, the cowpie, as it's called for reasons unknown to me, or the throttle. Over here is the ignition switch that hides just behind the throttle, which is that glowy switch there. Canopy, that raises and lowers the canopy. We've got parking brake, gear lever, the hook, taxi lights, reset the flight controls, and the rudder trim, and that'd be your STOVL configurator if you were in the beta variant. And there's your jettison stores. Here we have the helmet mounted display, brightness and switch on. We have the MFD, which is what it's called in here for some reason, for day and night, so that switches the brighter for day and not so bright for night. Same goes with the artificial horizon. You've got a brightness switch just here, and you can change the QNH value with this little button here. Auto recovery, I've not used that yet. The aircraft zero eyes, not 100% sure what that does yet. I have looked through the manual and there's been no mention of that at all. And then we've got a switch there that you can't use. We've got the remove before flight tag in the ejector seat, and then we will use that button or that section there to make it live. And we've got one there for the detonating cord in the canopy. So once that's been closed, we remove that tag. So there. And other than the control column, that's pretty much it on the rudder pedals. Very plain, very simplistic, but very nice. And yeah, let's get the thing started up. My next step is to show you the stores and fuel. Before I get into that, just show you quickly these four quadrants. These are called portals, and in the corner of the portals you'll see green writing. This one's saying EFI nav, next one's being FCS nav, ENG nav, and then fuel nav. If you click either top left hand corner of these portals, you'll be greeted with this list of different pages that you can use. Now, as I'm showing you the weapons, we'll choose SMS, and I am aware that NVIDIA again has shifted my cursor away from where I'm showing you, so it's going to be difficult for me to actually physically show you on the touch screen, so I'll try and explain it as best as I can. Now, on the SMS page, which I've just switched to, you'll see that there's a doors open closed bit there. You can actually put your mouse cursor over the top, click it, and if we go outside, you'll see that the Bombay doors are opened. I haven't quite figured how to open the side doors yet, but that's how you open the Bombay doors. And we can add weapons to that. We'll just click close, and we're going to switch that back to engine, We'll go back outside view. Now I'm going to call up the fuel page. Now you've got your different stations here, 1 through to 11. Now I've got the call out here for all of the weapons that you can have and what stations they go on and the weights. So AIM-9Xs are stations 1 and 11, so I believe 11 will be on the left hand side. So £200 for AIM-9X. Now we have an AIM-9X on the rail on the right wing. Next is the AIM-120, and that can go on stations 5 and 7 at £350. So if we go to station 7 and station 5, those are the internals, so it's pointless me showing you that one because I don't know how to open the doors. Next is the gun pod, which can only be used in the Bravo and Charlie variants because the Alpha already has an internal gun. Next is the GBU-12, which can be placed on stations 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 and 10, and they're £550 each. So if we go to station 9, 550, enter, there you go, we have a GBU-12. And then we can change that for station 9, we can change that for a GBU-31 JDAM. These can go on stations 3 and 9 on all models, and then 2, 4, 8 and 10 on the Alpha and Charlie only, and they're £2,000 each. So we'll go for station 10 and we'll go £2,000. Wait a minute. And there you go, we've got a JDAM on the wing. So it's nice that this is an addition, just a shame that the Xbox users won't get it. And the I'm not sure how much of it will be seen by other players when you're flying yourself. It'll just be mainly for your own viewing. So yeah, that's the I'm not going to go through every single variant and the weapon systems because I'll just basically call out everything just then. So yeah, everything's pretty much the same except that you can fit more on the A and C variants in the ways of JDAMs, and the gun pod as well can be added to the Bravo and Charlie variant. So I may actually show you that when I get to the Bravo. So anyway, that's fuel and weapons. Okay, next thing will be ground handling. So if we take the parking brake off, doesn't take much to get this thing going. In fact, it started rolling itself. We'll give it a little bit of a push. And the ground handling is pretty good. It's not riding on rails or anything as if it's a simplistic flight model. It does waddle around a little bit. Which is quite nice to know that you can feel the weight on the wheels. And then the next thing will be the sounds. I mean, I don't understand if it's just my installation or if it's like this across the board, but the external engine sounds are really quiet. I mean, you'll see when we get down the other end when I engage full thrust. It just doesn't seem to scream. It stays very quiet, but the biggest shock will be when I raise the undercarriage, and just listen out for that when it happens. Now again, this thing doesn't have a dedicated air brake surface to use, so when flying, if you're using the air brakes at all, it will be engaged with the flying surfaces, and they'll be engaged in whatever way you're flying to help slow you down. As you can see, the flaperons and the rudders have canted inwards to slow the aircraft down. If we go back out, and you can see that it's all gone back in again. So yeah, that's all still controllable in that position, and quite effective. As you can see, the helmet mounted display in front of me It doesn't move with my head, but it's there. There's no HUD, it's physically a projection through the visor, as I'm led to believe. So what we'll do is we'll get to the end of runway, show you a couple more things, and then we'll take it up for a circuit. I'll show you the sounds and the flight characteristics, bring it back, and then we'll do the beta variant. So it's going to pull up on the left hand side as we get out the gate. Okay, left hand turn here. And stop. Okay, and parking brake on. One thing that I have found very odd here is that the parking brake, if you look just above it, there is a counter, and it tells you the remaining brake applications you have, and the counter seems to be going down. I don't understand it myself. If anyone can highlight that and let me know, that would be great, because that's actually got me my mind boggled over that one. So yeah, if we decage this button here and push the button, go in the outside, you can see we have a hook, so emergency hook, and for the winching back into the hangars. And is there anything else that I need to show you? I think that's it really. So we have a hook, oh, and the obviously the if we go to fuel, we hover over the refuel system, which is in the center of the fuel nav portal here. I think I've got the mouse in the right area. It says fuel system in blue above the first fuel tank. If we click that, it gives us a caution, tells us that the refueling system is now open. And if we go to the top of the aircraft, the receptacle doors have opened and it's ready to take on some kerosene. Now, this being the only variant with a receptacle, booming receptacle type air-to-air refueling, well, it shows you just how different the three variants are, as the other two obviously have the probe. So if we click on refuel pre-contact, and that will close the doors again. So we'll take the parking brake off, and we shall make our way out to the runway. Okay. Right, okay, so I'm going to stick it outside and let you hear the sounds of me accelerating, and just show you how quiet the external engine sounds are. You can see we've got burner fully engaged. This thing should be blowing eardrums. Okay, so we're going to lift the gear up now. Listen to this. I'm not sure about you, but if I got back down on the ground, I would be reporting that sound to the ground crew straight away. Now, yeah, the control of it all is very nice. It's all early doors yet. I mean, it's just been released, but it's very receptive of your control inputs. get it into a loop. Caution, stall. That'll be alright. So yeah, the flap system, all done by a computer, no flap switches at all in this. Trim, done by a computer, there's no trimming at all in this. It's, well, I had a flight in it earlier and all I did was I took off manually, I flew with the autopilot engaged. When I got to Coningsby I did a couple of touch and goes and then flew back on autopilot. I mean, it's such a straightforward, simple aircraft to fly. I can see why it took so long to develop such an aircraft, because this thing is just, well, it's one step away from flying itself, really. That's the scary thing. So we'll engage the spoilers or air brakes, so we can get the gear down under 250. Gear is down. There's that horrible sound again. Disengage the air brake. Okay, so where's the airfield? That's over there. We can start turning in. Now I found a good approach speed is around about 170 knots. Speed up slightly, and that will get you descending nicely down to the ground without dropping like a rock. But of all the excitement I've had of waiting for this to come out on Flight Sim, I don't want to call it an anticlimax, but because the aircraft itself does so much itself, it's taken most of the fun out of the flying. It's basically flying in straight lines, flat and level. Computer does most of the work. I mean, it gives you time to look out the window, yes, but at the end of the day is that you might as well be flying an airliner. Just, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic module and it will go a long way, but it's very, I can see why the Royal Air Force call it Dave. It's very bland. It's not much of a challenge. I mean, if I got into the Sim Skunkworks F-104, I'd be very busy in the cockpit through the whole of the flight, mainly because there's no autopilot, but I would be switching the navs over, I would be making sure all the instruments are running and the engine's running properly, you know, things like that, whereas with this it's just a click away and you're pretty much done. Anyway, I guess that's a sign of things to come with aviation. The days of flying by the seat of your pants is no longer amongst us. We've been and gone through that phase, and now it's all straight and level, get to where we need to go via a computer and take the human right out of it. Anyway, I've really doled that review down. But yeah, like I say, it's a great module, and there's a lot of potential there for when this simulator actually starts hitting puberty. But at the moment, there's still bugs. like I say, there's crash to desktop issues, which I'm hoping I'm not going to have in any of my videos. I've probably spoken too soon, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, because the sim's not complete, and you can, if you're flying with a buddy in one of these, if you're controlling your aircraft, their ailerons move as well. If you go into STOVL mode in the B variant, they go into STOVL mode without activating it. They're flying along normally, but their aircraft's configured for STOVL or hover. So yeah, you've got to look past a lot of in-your-face sort of. And it's not just with this module; it's with a lot of aircraft because of the nature of the sim at the moment. It just, well, it's not finished, obviously. There's a long way to go with it. I just hope that Microsoft don't give up on it halfway through, because once it's up and running properly, it's going to be a great sim. It's just, I don't know. Just quite a lot of issues at the moment with it still. It's not anywhere near perfect. It's not anywhere near half baked. It's I know I'm slagging the sim off now, but yeah, there's still a long way to go. Instead of getting the main issues out of the way, they seem to be just doing scenery, which to me, okay, yeah, that's nice to look at, but what's the point if you can't really fly there properly? Half of the navigation and ILS on the sim doesn't work properly still. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I've gone off on a tangent now. I've gone from reviewing the F-35 to digging into the actual sim itself. But yeah, the A variant, very nice, very simple. Easiest one to fly, obviously, because there's no configuring to do for like altered landings or anything like that. So yeah, very good. So here we are, back at number 18. I'm sure I was supposed to be in 17, but there you go. But yeah, that's us back at the parking spot. So what I'm going to do now is going to jump from the A to the B. Right, and welcome to what was affectionately known as Dave during the prototype phases and trialling for the B variant. Right, so one setting that you will need to sort out is wing lights. You'll need to go into general control options, go to whatever you use. I'm using X56, and I'm going to search by input because I know where I've put that. So if I go toggle wing lights, now you'll need to set a button up or something for that to configure from conventional takeoff and landing to short takeoff and vertical landing in the Bravo variant. So I will show you that in here. So from the inside, and you can see I've hit the wing lights, and it's now telling me that I am now in STOVL mode. And then if I click it again, brings it back up. So I'll show you that from the outside. Right, so a couple of notes for the STOVL and hover modes. So first of all, you need to be below 250 knots for the short takeoff and vertical landing to be able to be engaged in flight. Once you're in STOVL, you can do between 70 and 200 knots. The bank angle will be set to a maximum of 30 degrees either way. Then once you slow down and you want to get into VTOL mode, you will need to be below 40,600 pounds in total gross weight. So you've got to make sure you've got to keep an eye on your fuel total, and dump fuel if you have to get below that weight. Otherwise, hover will just be in red. If it's in green, you can engage it. If it's in red, you will not be able to. Once you are in hover mode, you can set ground speed, which will let you traverse in hover mode, so that if you're coming up alongside a carrier and say it's doing, I don't know, 15 knots, and you need to match that speed to get the aircraft down on the deck, you can set that with the trim buttons to match the speed of the carrier once you're alongside it, and then you can obviously go sideways and then down onto the deck, and then obviously trim center will zero out the speed. So, and then last of all, obviously once you're in VTOL mode and you want to either take off in VTOL mode or land, if you pull the stick back, you will gain altitude, and if you push the stick forward, you will lose altitude, and that will be you going into the landing phase. So, and I'll quickly show you the gun pod, and then we'll take this this guy out for a spin. So, if we go to fuel and weights, we'll go down to station 6, and it was £550 for the gun pod, and there you go, you now have a gun pod, and that's the same for the Charlie variant as well. So you can carry a gun pod if you so wish. So zero that out. Okay, so let's get back in the cockpit and let's get this thing rolling. Right, okay, so I'm going to taxi now and get this thing off the ground. And like I say, you need a maximum of 40,600 pounds total gross weight for you to be able to engage the hover. Now what I'm going to do is, instead of taxi it all the way down to the end of the runway, I'm going to do it here. Now if we go to the fuel page again, you'll see that my total gross weight is 39,255, so slightly below the 40,600. So I'm going to activate the wing lights and get into STOVL mode. Okay, now we're in STOVL mode. Now if we look at the FCS nav portal, which is the second one, which hopefully I'm pointing to the right one here, you'll see that it has hover. Now to engage the hover, you click it. Okay, and it has auto throttle. You don't control the throttle at all in the hover. So if I just pull back on the stick, and there we go, we're off the ground. Stick the gear up. Okay. Looks like I may have found another glitch. The bomb doors are open when you are in VTOL mode. I don't understand why that could be the case. So there you go, it does look good, I've got to say. Unfortunately it's ruined by the bomb doors. Now if I let go of the stick, it will stay hovered If I use the rudder, we can now turn on a dime. If we want to move sideways, strafe maybe, we can go lateral. You just pull on the side stick left or right, and you go left or right. Get back into the cockpit, and we will disengage the hover. This is where we need to apply the throttle. It should have been up really, so that was my bad. We go outside view, and now you can see that we are now in STOVL mode. The bomb doors have now closed. As we get faster, the lift fan door is closing ever so slightly, and then we will go into initiate the wing lights, and we are now in conventional mode. There we go. Simple as that. I've got the burner engaged, and it's as quiet as anything. Okay. So there you go. I haven't engaged my helmet mounted display, which is the controls are just down here, and now you can see that I've got them up there. Change the panoramic display to day, so it's a little bit brighter over top of RF Mildnall here. Right, so basically going to try and land it now. See if I can get it back in the same spot as I took off. It'll require me to bleed off a lot of speed. I need to get below 250 knots. Engage the STOVL. Gradually slow it down using the rudders steering to where I want to go. As you can see, I'm still obviously still under the maximum gross weight. As we're at the 70 knot range, we'll engage the hover. Okay, so we are now could be a good chance for me to show you the ground speed. So as you can see, I'm using the trim. The ground speed is going up. The GS on the HUD there, just to the left hand side there, as you can see. So I'm now travelling at 13 knots ground speed, and if we use that, as I'm not able to look through the cockpit at the moment, if we use that to get where we want to go, pop back in, let me try and slow the ground speed down. Get that back down to 0 using the trim. Okay, and now we just put the stick forward, and now we get that sinking feeling because we are now on our way down. I did engage the STOVL a little bit too high, but it was engaged nonetheless, and we are heading back to where we need to be. Okay, and the less you push on the stick, the lighter and slower we descend. Okay, there we go. And another thing to add is that it also compensates for any wind shear that may be causing issues. The computer again takes total control over all of that. Okay, and we're on the ground. So we can disengage, get into conventional mode and taxi back. There we go. The old hunchback of Marham is now ready to go and park up. Disengage the air brakes. And then last but not least will be the Charlie model. I won't fly that model because it's basically a C beefed up for a carrier. It's got larger wings, less fuel capacity because it's heavier. Well, not less fuel capacity, but it burns more fuel, less endurance, and the not the best one of the lot of the bunch, but it's a mighty beast all the same. But I'll show you all the extras on that as well. So we'll just park up and we'll jump into the Charlie. Now I know I said I wasn't going to fly the Charlie variant, but I've got the USS Enterprise here in Wallop Bay, which was designed to be used with the upgraded F-18 Super Warrior. I'm going to see how that goes with this, because apparently using the launch bar and the arrestor hook will work on any surface, so in theory it should work on this. Now anyway, before we do that, I'm going to have a look around the aircraft, see what's different. So obviously this is the Alpha variant's ugly big brother, with the heavier, bulkier undercarriage. It has wing fold and it also has the tail hook. So to activate those, over here in the FCF nav portal here, we've got L bar, we've got fold, autopilot, and yeah, the fold and the hook are what we're going to use here. So, and there's a switch here for the hook which is glowing, so we click that. There's the hook, and as you can see that's simulated a hook landing even though we're not moving. So we'll retract that, and if we do the wing fold, there we go, wings are folding. So we've got those options, which is nice. Now here comes the tricky part. I'm going to see if I can actually get this thing off the deck. So let's disengage the wheel brake and we'll make our way over to the cat over here. Okay, so he's not actually doing anything with my aircraft because he's been designed to work with the Super Warrior. So what I'll do is I will do this myself and end up flying through him. So we will stop right there, bring it forward just a little bit more. Right, so L bar for the launch bar, we'll click that. It should bring the launch bar down. Okay, it's not a bad effort. Now, from what I've read in the instructions, is we only need to push the throttle to 80% and that will create a catapult launch. So, disengage the brakes, throttle up, 1, 2. There we go. I'll be honest, that wasn't too bad. Gear up. We're off the deck. Can't complain at that really. So what I'll do is I'll bring it round and I will try a carrier landing. So I should be able to bring this in at a slower speed than the Alpha variant. It was 170 was the approach speed that I found to be quite comfortable in that. So I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit lower than this. So under 250 knots, we'll drop the gear, keep the throttle up. We're going to drop the hook, and the hook is down. We're going to start making our way in then. I know this is going to end in a fail. It's holding nicely at 140 knots at the moment. Now I know it doesn't matter where I hit the deck on this, because obviously it's been designed that no matter what surface you're on you can catch a wire anyway, so it won't really say anything about my skills of landing on a carrier. Oh, man. Okay, well, once that's down, hook is up, we'll fold the wings and we'll go and park. Well, that was fun. I will say that it really got me concentrating. It's the first time I've ever flown this from a carrier, first time I ever used the C variant. Very nice. And the fact that I didn't actually know that the catapult launch and the hook, the arrestor simulation was actually a part of this mod. So that's nice to see that it's been added. So I'll open the canopy up. Right, well, that's been my review of the IndiaFoxTecho F-35 package, to the best that I can at the moment, the limitations of the module. So I hope that's gained your interest. I really hope that you've managed to make it all the way through the video. One thing I would like to add is looking at the analytics of the videos that I create. Majority, I say majority, 92% of the people that watch my videos haven't subscribed. So if I've earned a subscription, please click the red button. Leave a like if you want, leave a dislike. Either way, it's up to you. But I'd appreciate the help. And again, thank you for getting this far. So yeah, that's it for now. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.